Okay. Okay. So today we are talking to Asia B from The Uncommon Life. And Asia and I are just going to have a conversation today, basically about the direction of our people, of the Black people, the Black race of people, and where we're headed today. And basically, what is the best direction for us? We have called on the spirits of God. We've called on our ancestors and our spirit guides to just to lead Asia today with whatever is on our heart for us today. So, hey, Asia.
Hi.
So that's a whole big lot of big old introduction right there.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot. It's cool.
Mm-hmm. But um, first, I just want to talk a bit about how this is even coming about for me. Uh,
Okay.
for about the last, well, all my life really, but the last month especially, I've been really thinking about what is the right direction for Black people to head in. You know, a lot of people are talking now about, some people are saying we're the chosen people. Some people are saying that, Black people are the ones that have to lead the way, and all kinds of conversations on that subject. And so I started thinking that why not just go to the source about it? You know,
Hmm.
really has to guess about anything. All of our answers are within us. And
Hmm.
the first person that came to my mind to ask to do it was you, because we've worked together a couple of times
Yeah.
doing different types of sessions. And I just feel like we really connected. And
Hmm.
even within personal sessions that I've done with you, you always have some type of edifying message for the collective.
Hmm.
That's why you came to my mind about that. So that's where I am about it, and that's how this whole thing has come about. And I thank you for agreeing to it. So,
Yeah.
what you feel about that? What are you thinking?
Um, I'm okay with it. I enjoy working with you. I trust your intentions, and so that's really important for me.
Okay.
Um, I also am extremely passionate just about moving my people forward, and
Mm-hmm.
that's a big intention of
Mm-hmm.
mine. And so I'm happy to do what I can
Mm-hmm.
to do that
Okay.
and support the collective as we, navigate
Mm-hmm.
some new things.
Mm-hmm. So this whole thing, like I told you when we started that, before we started filming, rolling, but that we have no real structure to this. We're going to allow the spirits to guide us. We've called on, we've done our breathing, and we've set our intentions, which is to get information about our people. So okay, so I'm just going to start by just asking you to just relax with me. And I'm just calling in the energy of our ancestors, the knowledgeable ones, wisdom, intuitiveness, guidance, purity of heart, working through our emotions, working through our knowing, and just opening ourselves up to spirit and what spirit has to say. So, spirit, we're asking and we're putting out before you and humbling ourselves before you and asking our guides and bringing forth our higher selves to assist us right now in this moment with answers to how we should be moving forward in 2021 on this day at this time. And we ask that you speak through Asia and give her whatever message that you put upon her heart. We receive it openly, and whenever you feel like Spirit is ready to speak through you, you can feel free to move forward.
Yeah, so I was doing, because when you asked me about it, I wasn't really sure, what it would look like, or why me, right?
Mhm.
So I definitely got confirmation that I was chosen to do this. And just a little bit background on me, I do have spiritual gifts.
Mhm.
Some people would say I'm psychic. Some
Mhm.
people would say that I can like see things. So some people would say I'm a
Mhm.
seer, right? From a religious standpoint, some people may call it prophetic,
Mhm.
and things
Mhm.
like that. And so just to give an idea of where this is like coming from, and some of like my background. And so when I was asking, every day I do a meditation just to get messages for the day. And so my intention for today was show me what I'm supposed to do on this call. Like, what am I gonna say? Like, what am I gonna do?
Mhm.
And the message that I got is that this is definitely a pivotal time for um, for us, for our people. Just 2021 is pivotal.
Mhm.
Also, because we're in the midst of Black History Month, it's been such a healing time. I've talked to a few people, and they've been having just more clarity and more
Mhm.
understanding of
Mhm.
what's, where they are, where they want to go, and new, fresh opportunities are on the horizon for a lot of people.
Mhm.
And it's not by coincidence.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
from a spiritual standpoint, um, we're in a place where like the veil, and when I say the veil, like the area that splits
Mhm.
the living and the spiritual world,
Mhm.
is extremely thin. And so our ancestors, those that have come before us, the honorable ones that walk with us, are really closer than they have been in a very long time.
Okay.
And
Mhm.
so if you are actively communing with them and you have a relationship, they're close to you naturally.
Mhm.
But now it's a lot, they're able to do a lot more
Yeah.
because they're able to give, to move a little bit more freely, and their
Mhm.
power is a lot stronger at this point.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and what I've been told is their intention to move their people forward. And so each individual obviously has their own journey, but it's an opportunity for us as a collective to move forward. And what does that mean? It means going from the past, so healing on an ancestral plane, healing some of their pain and trauma,
Mhm.
and then also clearing out the future so that we have a different trajectory.
Mhm.
Now, I don't really like to like fear monger and things like that. But you have to know that when there's a push for good,
Mhm.
in the environment, there's always balance. So if
Okay.
there's one, there is another one. There's duality.
For sure.
And so you have to understand that sometimes there are also forces that are trying to stop that.
Mhm.
Because if we fully move forward and fully step into the things, if everything goes as planned,
Mhm.
then, we really would see a different world and a different, landscape for specifically Black and Brown people, right?
Mhm.
And so it's important first that we really tap into our spirituality.
Mhm.
If you come from like a religious standpoint, you need to first honor that, but then you also need to open up some of your container or your understanding, and really figure out how you can connect with your ancestors and honorable ancestors, those that are here in love and those that are here to assist
Mhm.
with this growth and development and ascension,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And so the first way you can do that, if you're just like, well, I don't know anything about that, I don't want to welcome all of these things into my life, I don't know, what that looks like, is just set the intention. Set the intention to accept loving energies, those that love you the most. Because my truth is that God, the most high God, is also just, I feel like the world represents, is a reflection of the spiritual world. So just as you have your mom and your dad and your aunts and your uncles, and as a baby, as a child, they're there to guide you. On the spiritual realm, you also have spirits and beings that are sent to guide you throughout your life and make sure that you get the things that you need. You go through things. Some people call that the Holy Spirit. Some people call it by different names, right? But at the end of the day, it's the team that is there to assist you to live your highest potential. And so it's time to really connect with that team,
Right.
because one of the spiritual laws that the Most High God has identified for us on this plane is free will. And that's in every spiritual book. We have free will, and nothing can overflow your free will. So if you are not open to it, if you're not accepting of it or willing to make that connection, they are limited in what they can do for you, and connecting with you. So it's time to do that. Um, it's also time for healing. I know during the last month, I would say the last 30 days for me specifically, I've been having extremely vivid dreams of the past. And I've been getting understanding of things that have happened in the past to kind of put it to rest, because if we are,
Personal years, you mean, or
my personal past,
your personal years?
and I've talked to a couple of people as well, um, because like, in order to reach the highest heights, Toni Morrison has a quote: if you want to fly, you have to give up the stuff that weighs you down. And so the healing is a reflection of going back to your personal history so that you can move forward and really be open. Because if you can't accept yourself, you can't accept guidance.
Right.
You can't accept healing,
Right.
for everything starts with self. And so
Right.
the journey, to connecting fully, is being clear with who you are as an individual. So
Okay.
all the journeys start, on an individual plane, and then you can fully accept and heal your ancestral line and accept and heal your legacy coming forward. But it all starts with clearing up your internal personal things that we carry. Um,
Some
because
people call it the shadow
some
work.
people do call it the shadow work.
Shadow work. So you brought up a couple of really good points. So I just
It was
want
a lot.
yeah, and it's great and great information. So I just want to start from a place of, let's just say that a person just doesn't know. Let's just start from ancestors and who our ancestors are. What about people who are adopted that don't know their true background? Let's
So,
ancestors are and how you reach them.
and you don't have to know your ancestors, because you are your ancestors. That's first. They know you
Mm-hmm.
because they are you. And it's not just, oh, I have this family, so I can't connect with them. It's on a DNA level. You
Mm-hmm.
carry them in your body. They
Right.
are your body.
Right.
You are a part of them. So all you have to do, again, is set the intention to say, I am open and I welcome in
Mm-hmm.
the honorable ancestors, those that love me.
Mm-hmm.
And when you call them, they will show up, because they want nothing more than to help you, help their progeny move forward. That's on some level, it's a part of their job and their goal. In the spiritual realm, is to move their lineage forward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because the truth is, if you are a descendant of slavery, they work very hard to give you more than what they had, because their power is much more in the spiritual realm than they had here. And they were very powerful here, which is why they were enslaved.
Yeah,
And so we don't want to minimize the power that they had on this earth, because they were and are extremely powerful in their
exactly.
being.
And we don't want to let it sit without using it, because we know that energy doesn't go away. It's always here. So if our ancestors' energy is still here, why not use it? It's here to
Right, right.
um let's not waste the energy, you
Yeah.
know.
It's just like you having a toolkit
Mhm.
when you came in to the earth, and you're just like, I have all this help, but I don't want it. Like, why would I want help? And it's like, I know from my personal experience that once I started to really allow myself the assistance, and for me, it's in hierarchy, like the number one is the ultimate creator, the most high God for me. But with that, I understand that God is way bigger than we probably ever could imagine.
Oh yeah.
And we because some people, if you come from a religious background, you think of God as, oh, answer my prayers, I want this, I want that.
Send
And
God.
yeah, and it's like, you mean to tell me the God that planned for me to be here in this moment, like, so God had the foresight to see all the way from the beginning to Asia being in this moment right now. And all I want to see God as is a genie. You know what I mean? Like, and in that infinite wisdom and in that infinite work, God has beings that he has assigned to us to assist us, and they work for God. They work for the good. And so if you have beings that are assigned, some people call them angels, and
I
we
was
have
just about to ask you, what can we name off some of the names that these beings would go by? And angels is the most common, I think.
yeah, angels, and then some people also call them ascended masters, like people who came and changed the world. They have a certain rank when you come and you do the good work and you fight the good fights. When you transition over, you have a status that is different than other
So let's
people.
talk about some of that big energy that's out there that we could be using. Like, I mean, the energy of, I think the most popular would be probably Malcolm X and Martin Luther King.
Mhm.
What happened to that energy that they left on the earth?
Okay. So when we talk about the energies of, I would say, our leaders, the Malcolm X, or our martyrs, actually, and they are martyrs because they were specifically targeted and taken away from this earth because of their power and their influence, and because it was designed for them to come and give a message. And so you also have to understand, okay, first, for me, my understanding is I don't just call on specific spirits, right? Just because what we understand on a human plane is much different than a spiritual plane. So I want to be clear with that. I'm not saying anybody is good or bad, right? That's
Right.
not. But I don't want to encourage people just to call, like, if they don't know what they're doing, just to call on energies, because we may think that someone is something that they're not. And I'm not speaking of anyone in particular or anything like that. So I want to just be clear with that.
Well, I'm talking specifically about the energy of Martin Luther King and the energy of Malcolm X. And we know that that particular energy was to move us forward in some way. And we know we can transform it. We can do whatever we want to do with it, but it's still here. So I'm asking.
That's true. So I think you tap into their message and not the message that we were taught in school. You actually look into their story and you watch and go deeper into what it is they were trying to teach. For example, Martin Luther King was assassinated once he started to switch his messaging from turn the other cheek to let's get financially free. And so there's a message there.
Right.
And the message is, what are we not supposed to know about getting financially free? So then you take that and you start to figure out, what does that mean? What does financial freedom mean? And how can I position myself to have opportunities for that freedom? Because it's not just them. Like we look at, what happened in Tulsa. It's actually been 100 years since the Black Wall Street was bombed and our people were murdered by our government because they were setting up community and financial freedom in that realm. And so the clues are there. The clues are there as to where we should go. And you have to use your discernment to find the clues. And the way that you do that is you look at the stories and you figure out at what was happening at the time that they were assassinating. What were they trying to do? What were they trying to bridge? And how can we do that now? Or how can we take that energy and that ideology to move forward?
Right. And what we've learned, what did we learn from what we saw? Going forward, I think is a big part of it. What did we learn? Because I think the biggest complaint that we have as a collective is that we feel like we are going backwards. We feel like we're not really moving forward, like we take some steps and then we're still seeing the same thing we saw 400 years ago, or we're still seeing the same things that we saw even 100 years ago, So I think that's an excellent point. We don't want to go back. Well, me, I do not watch slave movies and things of that nature because I feel like it takes me backwards emotionally. Now if something, if spirit moves me to watch something, I will watch it. But as a rule, I don't watch slave movies and things like that. That's going to make me, I before I watch a slave movie, I'll watch I'd rather watch a pimp, make his money before I sit around and watch, some slave be beaten to death and all that kind of nonsense. So it takes me back. And this is the opposite of that. This is picking up from looking at what was going on at that time, picking up from that timeline and saying this was the message that was going on. And the message that was going on with Martin Luther King at that time was a financial message, because he said, we're coming to Washington and we're coming for our check. Okay, so that's an excellent point. That's an excellent point. That's some stuff that people don't want to repeat. So I think that one part of the message that I've gotten from you right now is that we need to start looking at our finances and calling that into us. So what about, let's talk about Malcolm X and where he was.
Malcolm X, and actually, it's interesting that you mentioned Malcolm because Malcolm X and Fred Hammond, right now the movie that just came out on Netflix is Judah and the Black Messiah, which is about Fred Hammond.
Okay.
And so I watched that and I was like, why am I watching this? Like, why are they doing this? Why do they always do this? Kind of similar to what you were just saying, the trauma of it. And the message that I got after watching it, because it was important that I watched it to realize that there's a playbook, in the way that people are assassinated in this country. And the playbook is always when they start to gain power, when they start to have influence, and when they start to build community. And not just the idea of like a community, what Fred Hammond and also what Malcolm X was saying is that we have to come together, not just black people, because he was trying to unite all the gangs. And once he started to unite the people of different colors, that's when he was killed. Because when the blacks are doing the thing and it's like kind of small and they, they're still fighting, and it was in Chicago, similar to Malcolm X, when he went to Hajj, he saw all different types of people worshiping the same God. And so he was like, no, we need to unite people. We need to unite. The power is in uniting. It's not in the division. And so that's the lesson, is that the first step is understanding finances and getting financially free. The second step is stop the divisiveness, because the truth is, it's not about color, it's about class many times, which the financial part affects it.
That's the real truth.
Yeah, it's
about America.
Yeah.
That's in my opinion, that's the real truth about America.
Yeah.
Is that America has the biggest lie, which is, that we're divided by race. We're really divided by class.
Yeah. And then within the class, they divide the race, because even if you have a division in class, there are less people in the 1% than there are in the majority. And so if we didn't have the race thing, then we would come together and we would pool together and we would have power.
Right. So with that said, I feel like we've been trying to get our Caucasian brothers and sisters to wake up to that reality. I feel like that's a reality that most Black people already have.
Yeah.
So, like, what do we do? Because it's not a matter of, we do understand that spiritually we're one, in God. But, when you have a part of the one that's being drug under cars and killed in the street, this part of the one is ready to move forward consciously, so what's the advice for us to move forward? Maybe by us moving forward, maybe the truth is that when they see us moving forward and moving on, that they'll realize they have to wake up. But, are we subject to waiting for them to wake up, in your opinion?
There's a lot there. I feel the issue is not about us getting allies. The issue is us not desiring acceptance. So when I say that, I started this by saying everything starts within, with you, with the one, right? And I think we have spent a lot of energy trying to prove that we are valuable when there's no question on whether or not we're valuable. We're the only people who doubt our value. Because when you look in like entertainment, who's the majority of the performers? When you look in athletics, who's the majority of the athletes? When people of color are given equal playing fields,
Right.
they excel in ways that are divine,
Even when we're not.
even when we're not.
Yeah. I think that's
But
the miraculous part about us.
yeah, like we
Even
excel,
playing field, we'll excel beyond
right?
anything.
So,
Be excelling even when they don't give us what we deserve.
right. So is the question to seek allyship, or is the question to remember who you are and remember your own value? And now
Mhm.
it's not to say that there's not systems in place to prevent that from happening, because again, duality. When there's good, there's something other than that. When there's something, when you're going for, light, there's also darkness. When there's darkness, there's also light,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So don't expect that a country that was built on the backs of you to then welcome you as an equal partner. It's not
Mhm.
going to happen.
So now
You know what I mean?
that brings me to the next thing. I want to talk to, I want them to talk to us about, now that that is clear, it's not logical, you know, not that we're depending on logic, but it's not logical that the very people that need you to help them to stay afloat, because we are the foundation, all working people are the foundation of America.
Absolutely.
America right now. So we're all the foundation of this country. We know that. The working class people are the foundation of the country. This is a capitalistic country. People have to work and make money and spend it so that the elite can stay where they are. So we know that. We know that. We don't have to go through that. And hopefully, with most people realize that. How do
Yeah.
we? I know it's a big question, but how do we move forward from that? Knowing that reality that nobody's going to give us anything. We're worthy of everything. I mean, I've received that message from you right now. I am worthy. I am worthy. My ancestors have blood, sweat, and tears in this dirt right here in this country. What do we do?
I think that that's I think that that's the key. I think it's not speaking that you're worthy, but embodying your worthiness.
Okay, how do we do that?
You do it by, number one, addressing the things that hold you back. So doing that, what you reference as shadow work,
Mm-hmm.
looking at your life and those things that you're afraid to address and those things that you're afraid to look at, and really looking at it and looking at it from a perspective of love.
Mm-hmm.
Because the truth is that everything that happens to broaden and expand who you are. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I know that may sound a little jarring for people who've gone through extreme trauma like murder or rape or things like that. But the human experience on earth is an experience. And it's all about what your soul needs to experience the fullness of, to help you and your soul rise to who you are called to be to, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so, for example, if you're at a job and people on your job don't like you,
Mm-hmm.
Sally constantly, demeans you,
Mm-hmm.
um, you have to take a look at to what about you is calling that to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, everything starts with the one. It's
Mm-hmm.
not about what the other person is doing, because what they're doing has nothing to do with you. But
Mm-hmm.
it's, why is that now in my sphere of influence? Why is that now a part of my experience? What am I not seeing and what am I not knowing? And so I know it may not seem like a direct answer as to how do we move forward, but it is very simple that you move forward by clearing up your pain.
Mm-hmm.
Because then the thing is that when you have a significant amount of pain or in trauma, your body has been coded, your brain has been coded to now look for pain and trauma.
Mm-hmm.
So no matter what happens, specifically, you look at like lottery winners. people have changed their financial situation for the good. They've seen money that they probably would not have amassed in their lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe it's like in 5 years, in a short number of years, they're usually in a worse situation than what they were before. And so why is that? So it's not about the money. It's about the vibration. It's about their energy. It's about what they believe they deserve. Because when we don't believe we deserve something, we go outer. Give me the car. Give me the bag. Give me the outfit. I look good. I'm deserving. And we say it and we speak it, but we don't embody it and believe it. Because if you feel that you are deserving, you would behave like it. You know, you would embody that. And embodying that means the choices that you make. So I know it's not easy because there are systems in place in this country to keep people in their place. But we have an opportunity currently where we don't just have to depend on ourselves.
Okay.
And we have the spiritual help. So we must, if you desire to heal it, you must ask for guidance on how to heal it. You must seek
So give us an example of what that looks like on a day-to-day basis, because my biggest thing about spirituality is like you can listen to people and like it all makes sense while you're watching the video, and then when it's over, you're like, okay, how do I do that? Like, what does that look like on a day-to-day basis? You know, how do I look like I'm worthy of something more than what I'm getting in America? Because I'm just talking about Americans, because that's what we are right now.
Yeah. So the thing is that sometimes you must look for the resources. For example, I say start where you are, right? So for me, I have a therapist, I have a spiritual coach, I have friends who are on the path that I could call if I'm, struggling with something. I have resources. I have people that I watch on YouTube, that are free. I have I get my meditation, my spiritual practices.
Right.
So it's about building your toolkit. Because realistically, if you knew better, you would do better. If you knew how to do it, you wouldn't be in a situation. That's a fact, right? Because who would suffer willingly? Who would suffer and be conscious that they are causing their own suffering, right? So I think the first thing is that you make yourself aware that you don't know what you don't know. And then you, again, at a minimum, ask for spiritual help, saying, God, help me, show me, show me the first step.
It sounds like being honest with yourself.
Being honest and making a decision. Because the truth is, if you're familiar with books like The Alchemist, the earth, the universe will bend to give you what you desire. It's when you don't know what you desire that you get a mixed bag, or when your expectation has been to desire pain because you only know pain. And this is not, I know it sounds good and it sounds like, oh, so I just have to I have to expect it. I have to do this. It's not that simple, in the sense of it's simple. It's not that easy in the sense of I have 4 generations of people who don't have successful marriages. So what does that look like? You know what I mean? Or I have 2, 3, 4, 5 fathers of my children and none of them are working, none of these relationships have worked. And I am overwhelmed and depressed and stressed out. So I'm not pie in the sky, oblivious to reality, right? But I do know that when what you seek seeks you. And I do know that what you desire is waiting for you. You just have to start to accept what it is that you desire. So it may be the first step. If you're like, I can't afford no coach, like I don't have a spiritual coach, the first step may be just you going on YouTube and looking up how to get through depression or motivational mornings. You start in the morning with just a motivational video. And at first it's going to seem like it's a waste of time. But programming is real. Advertising is real. And if they pay billions of dollars for just a 30-second commercial, you have to know that you can trick yourself into thinking anything. You have to know that 30 seconds of your attention is valuable.
Right.
And so are you going to be programmed or are you going to take control and program yourself? So the first thing I would say is set the intention of I am open to the ancestral, to the God help, to the help that is available to me. Show me. Show me what to do. And then what you will see is that you may meet somebody. You may see a quote on Instagram. You may automatically just see somebody on YouTube that comes into your feed. And you're like, what is that about? That's totally random. But when you ask, it's coming. It's about, are you going to trust what you've asked for? Are you going to believe that you deserve what you asked for? And are you going to welcome it in? Because once you ask, it's presented to you. That's a fact. It may not look like what you thought, though. So it may not be you having $100 to book a session with the coach, right? It may look like a 5-minute YouTube video where somebody just asks you a question and you need to reflect about that and start journaling.
Absolutely.
That's also another thing that you can do, to start the shadow work process is start to write down what you think. And not from a place of shame, not from a place of pain, but just what's going on in there? What are you feeling? What are you thinking? What are those things that you are challenged with?
Right.
And being honest with yourself. We live in a society where it's easy to escape and also where it's easy to not be honest with yourself. You don't have to tell anybody what you really feel, but tell yourself that you're struggling and you want more. So I would say, ask for help, start to journal, start to sit quietly and get into your mind, and start to write down, what do you want? That's the easiest and hardest question to answer. Because it really, and it's not a one-time thing, because what you want will change as you change, as your mind expand, as your experiences change. What do you want? And be as free with that. I want to move up. I want to increase my salary. It doesn't have to be, I want to be Beyonce. It does not have to be that. You know what I mean? It can just be, I want to have a house with a backyard so my kids can play. Because what you desire is available to you. Now, it may not be available today, and it may not be available tomorrow, but there's a thing as far as manifestation. And so when we circle back to the question of what do we need to do as a people to move forward, I would say we need to figure out what we want. Because there are so many leaders out there currently If you want to learn about financial literacy, there are tons of people out there teaching it. If you want to learn about home ownership, there are tons of people teaching it. If you want to, like, what do we want? And when we decide as a collective what we want, then that's what we will get. But right now we're so divided because everyone wants to lead. Everyone wants to be Malcolm X, but nobody wants to be the martyr. Everyone wants to be the one that's on stage, but nobody wants to die for it. And that's the cost. And sometimes that's the cost.
Well, that's the cost of being a martyr. I mean, I think that we've seen that. I think that we've seen that big martyrship does not work. That's not the place that anybody should. I think people are looking for a leader, but that is definitely the wrong thing to look for at this point. You know, that we don't, I don't feel that we need one leader. That has not worked. That makes one person
the target. Absolutely.
You know, so that's something that we've learned does not work. We don't want to keep repeating things that don't work for us, you know, and maybe even, you know, I know that a lot of people like to protest and do things like that, but it just gets to a point where it's like, should we continue to protest?
Are you asking me?
We have some answers today.
Oh,
all the answers I could get.
So
Edie.
I think that there's a lane for everything, right? There are people who that is their calling, right? I don't believe in either or. I believe in both and. I love options. And I think that another way to move forward is starting to develop community. I remember, and I use a lot of like my personal experiences because it helps me to understand and get clarity and paint a picture, right?
I agree with you. That's the reason you've had them, so that you get knowledge that we need right now.
Yeah. So I remember my grandmother living on the first floor. My cousins living next door, my mom and myself living, you know, upstairs from my grandmother. And so we had a sense of community. There was a fortress around our home and there was a fortress around the family. So if one person could not be available, there were still other people available to support the unit. And so when we think about that ideology, all people were designed to live in community. You know, that's why we are constantly seeking other people. You know, it's because we're all supposed to bring our diversity, our backgrounds, our experiences, and come together and teach and grow and learn and love and all of those great things, right? So I think another way that we can do it is by building community and by valuing, I'm gonna go back to the value, worthiness, valuing who we are and valuing every person. Because again, you can learn from anybody. Anyone can teach you because we all are unique and we all have a brain, you know? And so I think don't despise someone who you think may not be able to add value to you, because everyone can. Anyone can. They can bring depth to your experience. They can bring light and they can, you know, broaden and strengthen the core. Everybody is not going to be, I'm going to say Beyonce, but some people can cook and they were designed to cook. And if that's what they can do, maybe nutrition is their foundation. So they study that because that's valuable. Without a healthy body, you're worthless. You know what I mean? Like you cannot be, because it goes back to your innate need. You must, like your body won't even function at its capacity if there's illness in it, right? Because it was designed to focus and heal that one thing. And when that one thing is together, then it's like, okay, now we can do some great things, right? Um, and so I also think that that is a part of moving forward as a people, right?
Good health,
Because
good health.
but health,
You know,
but
right.
then also health is not just physical, it's
Mhm,
emotional,
mhm,
it's mental,
mhm,
because mental illness is real.
mhm,
And you know, mental wellness is real.
mhm.
And trauma is real. And
Right.
so if you have a pain, like if you are emotionally bruised and emotionally, you know, you can't think about building a legacy if
Mhm.
you don't have food.
Right.
You can't think about building and how we can move forward if you are outside homeless. Like
Mhm,
it's a fact
mhm,
because your innate needs will take over and
mhm,
your body will not allow you to.
mhm,
And so it's how do we build together? How do we come together? How do we build value in our community, in our individual community, our neighborhood, our community, you know, our familial community, right?
mhm,
Like how do we start to strengthen that unit?
mhm. I think that's an excellent point. I've been over here jotting down everything. I'm making my bullet points because I feel like the things that have come up are things that um, I'm gonna meditate on because it's these are the things that these are great points that we need in the community and that we need to focus on pushing forward. So my energy and my meditations going forward are going to be on bringing light to these areas, bringing good health to our areas, bringing financial freedom to our community, to healing our bloodline, which is one of the things that you mentioned. Um, Getting up and setting our intentions every day. I think these are all points that people make. I've heard them all before, but I feel like it's sometimes I'm not sure what stops it from happening because I do coach, I do spiritual coaching. And sometimes I can speak to a person and be on the phone with them for like 30 minutes, an hour, talking about all of this. And then when we talk again, they didn't do any of it. They didn't do any of it. And you're paying to talk, to get, to get it done. But I think that sometimes there's things just holding us back. For me, this particular meeting are for the healers that could go in and start to release the energies that are stopping these things that were just told to us that are needed in our community. Because it's not something, nothing you said on this list is anything that I haven't heard, and just about, unless they're a teenager and or crawl from under a rock, everybody's heard everything that you said already. So the thing that's going to make this particular thing different is this is for the healers. These are for the wisdom keepers in the community that want to know what you need to focus on during your meditation. They just told you everything that this community needs, how to use the energy that was here from Malcolm X, that was here from Martin Luther King, that's here for us every day. They also told us how it looks every single day, how to do it in a practical way, how to make it how you're supposed to do it. They've laid it out so that we know. My intention during meditation now is going to be to move this energy that we need forward. I'm very clear now on what we need. I'm very clear now on what we need here. I thank the spirits for just bringing it forward. So I'm asking that anybody else that sees it, that's a healer, that's here to bring light and wisdom and freedom to the masses, because we know that we are one. But I came here as a Black individual. My intention right now is for Black individuals. It may not be that way for everybody, but it is that way for me right now. I feel like I have to focus on my own backyard before I can make things better or bring peace or look for allies. I'm not looking for any allies. I'm not looking to join forces with anybody. I'm looking to bring the body together, and to bring forth a message for the leaders in the community. Now, to me, the leaders in the community are the healers in the community, the ones that you're never going to see their face. You're never going to know who they are because they're meditating, they're sending up energy to do the things that we've been told that we need to address. I think it's a comprehensive list. So I am going to make a video on just this list that you just made and what we should be doing. I feel that some good information has come forward. I'm not going to, I appreciate all your time, and I don't want to keep you much longer. I know we've been at it for a minute, but if you have anything to say in closing, just to.
I think it's important, two things, and it's going to tie back to what I said in the beginning. I know you just mentioned that sometimes you will sit with people and they will pay, and then there is no fruit, or no progression, seemingly the next time. And I think that it's important that we recognize and we realize that it starts with self, as you just brought it. Because the truth is that when you heal yourself, you will automatically be aligned with those people that can heal and change, that are also committed to healing themselves. And then that's how you can effectively affect change. Because the truth is that not everybody wants to.
Yeah, that's very true.
And it's not to say that because that's a step. Like when you pay your money and you say that you want to do something, that's a step, and that should be respected and honored. So I'm not trying to demean that.
Oh yeah.
I'm just saying overall, it's important to realize that there are going to be people that are not going to come with, even if they look like you, even if the intention is to move your community forward. The fact is that there are people who are perfectly content and happy with
Absolutely.
exactly where they are.
That's an excellent point too. That's an excellent point, actually. A very, very valid point that not everybody is awake. Not everybody's ready to move forward. Not everybody's in the same place. We're not trying to move anybody anybody that's content with being where they are. They are content to stay.
Yeah.
And I agree with that 100%. And it's going on the list.
Yeah.
Because, we don't want to waste energy, we want to take the path of least resistance. So
yeah.
I think that's the best finishing point, actually.
Yeah.
That we also have to recognize that there are some among us that are not willing to change, not willing to move forward, like what they're doing, like where they live, and they are free to stay.
Yeah, because it's simple, but it's not easy. It takes a lot. I know I made it sound real cute, and I made it like very light, like I mean, like you just have to heal. Like everybody just has to heal. And it sounds good, but the truth is that healing, it's not easy. It takes great work, and it takes great discipline, and it takes great desire. And so as we walk through healing, and as we set the intention to take advantage of this opportunity, because this is really a valuable time. Like I can't express that enough. Like that the things that are happening at this point, it's beyond comprehension.
No, I know.
And so the good news is that you have access to it. The good news is that it costs. The not so good news is that it costs. It costs your comfort. It costs your stagnation. It costs. It's not, it's available, but it's not free. It's accessible, but there's a price.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of us, I mean, if you were already, you know, doing the work, maybe you paid it already.
But it's continuous. It's continuous because new levels require new versions. And this opportunity is really an opportunity to jump several levels very quickly.
Yes, absolutely. Level up. Absolutely. A great point. Because if you really overcome this, if you can really, you know, sync yourself up with the discipline that's really out here for you. And I mean, there's great prosperity out here right now. There's if those people that want to just make money right now, this is a money making time. I just talked to a friend of mine that's doing wonderfully right now financially. Her company is doing great. So don't sit here and think, oh, everybody's suffering, because everybody is not suffering.
No, some people are doing
Very,
very
very well.
and it's
Time of prosperity. Don't believe the hype.
yeah, and this is
Prosperity.
2021. If you have been doing the work, if you have been committed to your journey, the good news is that it's about to blow your mind.
Yep. It's
It's about to blow your mind.
That's my generation. The two generations coming together right here. Asia, I really appreciate you so much. I really do. I really do. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
I'm just gonna, unless you have something else that you want to add, I'm gonna.
No, I'm okay because I'm actually getting like very.
I know.
Top.
I mean, the information has just been unbelievable. I'm very content. So thank you so much. I'm going to close out with just thanking our spirits, our guides, of course, the Most High, for just bringing this and making this happen. We thank you for the synchronicities. We thank you for the Spirit of God that has just dwelled here and just spoke out to us and given us direction today, exactly what we asked for. I thank Asia and bless you, your family, your whole unit. We just thank you for your time and just peace. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Asia. Bye.
Are you gonna end the recording or are you going to?
Okay. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to start the recording.